Hello, and we have a really good topic for you today. It's all about getting back to school. We've probably all had at least 1 week back dancing by now, and you may be feeling the challenges, you may be feeling, yes, I'm back, I'm ready to go, or you may be thinking, oh, what am I doing? Wait for the intro, and we'll talk about this further. So my name's Claire and I used to be a professional dancer and I have been teaching ballet for the last 10 years and I want to help you become the best dancer you can be. Mean that whether you're doing dance classes for fun or whether you're actually thinking, this might be something I want to do as a job, and you're thinking about options for professional training. Across the board, this is relevant for you because we've just had a massive break. We've had the massive 6, possibly 7, sometimes 8 week break of summer, and sometimes it's a little bit tricky coming back. Yeah, your body's got into the mode. You've been off long enough to establish new habits of not doing your dance classes, maybe doing some practice, but not being in dance class with your friends every week, and it can feel a little bit daunting going back to it. So I thought I'd address a few things to help you with getting back into dance after a bit of a break. So first of all, I know you'll be excited about seeing your friends, but on the other hand, you may be a little anxious as well. It's very natural to feel, oh, I'm going back out of my comfort zone, because your new comfort zone has been being with your family and having those 6 weeks to relax. You might have been on holiday and all that has been a bit of change for you, but you've got settled into that pattern and now we're changing your pattern again. So it might feel a little bit uncomfortable. You might have felt, oh, I feel strange going back to dancing. Don't worry, that is all natural. That is totally a part of having a change in your routine, yes. And as humans, we like our consistency of routine. Of course, you'll be excited to see your friends, and I'm sure when you got back into class, you wanted to chat and catch up and talk to them all the time. And of course, that's probably not the best mindset to have, especially if you're doing ballet training on a serious level, possibly not the best mindset to have when you're coming into class. Maybe try arriving a little bit earlier so you can catch up with your friends, or arranging to be picked up a little bit later so you can catch up properly after the class. Because once you're in the class, you really want to be focused on making the most of that class and getting the best out of it. Yeah, if you're having chats in between exercises, your brain's not really in the class. You're removing yourself from the class between every exercise to catch up with your friend about where you went for your holiday. So please do bear that in mind, and for yourself, not just for your teacher's benefit, but for your own benefit, try to keep the focus once the class has started on the job in hand, which is obviously making yourself the best dancer that you can be. So you might have done a few classes already and you might be feeling, oh my gosh, I'm so out of shape. I can't jump so much. I've got no energy. My legs are aching. Oh, good grief, this is terrible. Do not worry. Again, that is all temporary. One of the first things to go when we have a break is our stamina. If you're not jumping around and doing grondolegros and leaping around your room throughout the holidays, that's one of the first things to go. I remember my first week back at college getting like lung burn when we were doing like major dance sequences and thinking, oh my gosh, my fitness will never come back. It will come back. You just have to kind of breathe, really use those lungs that you've been given and pace yourself, and obviously try and challenge yourself, push yourself, but not to the point that you get injured. So unfortunately, gains are never made without any kind of discomfort. So you do want to feel the discomfort of a challenge, but you don't want to feel the discomfort to an extent that you're actually going to get yourself injured, because that's not going to help anybody. Few things you can do after class: you can rest, you can drain your legs, which means lying on the floor with your feet up on a wall, obviously not dirty feet, clean feet, up on a wall, so all the excess fluid starts to drain out of your legs and feet. This is especially valuable if you're training maybe semi-professionally or training in long sessions for, say, all day at dance college or dance school, or even if you do like a couple of classes back to back and you think, oh my goodness, that was really hard work. At the end of it, you can lie back, put your feet up in the air for a little bit, let the blood flow and the fluids sort of drain out of your legs. We call it draining your legs. Personally, I find that sounds really, really, I don't know, for some reason I don't like the name of it, but it's a good way of helping prevent excess swelling and things that can cause little bits of pain. One thing you can do, I don't profess to know enough about ice baths. I've heard some very good things about ice baths. I know a lot of sportsmen and women and a lot of dancers after my era used to take ice baths, but I don't profess to know enough about it. However, cold water therapy can be very, very beneficial. I definitely turn down my shower to cold at the end of every shower. One thing I will say, you do need to make sure you have your breathing controlled, doing long, slow breathings. Otherwise, you'll go into panic mode like that, which your body naturally does when you experience cold. And the other thing is, obviously, once you've just taken a cold shower or cold bath, you do need to make sure that you don't then do any further exercise immediately after that, because everything will have, you'll have reduced any swelling, any inflammation, but also what you will have done is your muscles will have slightly contracted. So that's not a time to exercise and do anything, any form of stretching or anything like that, because your muscles will have contracted. That's something to do the next day. That's something that you do at the end of your training, just to kind of take away any inflammation. So to help you with sort of the whole overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, it's another whole year, what am I going to do? It's a good idea to have your own notebook. Have a book in which you really, really, most importantly, must write every positive comment that teachers make to you. So you start to know where your strengths are. This is really important, because what happens, especially as dancers, especially if you're working towards professional training, or if you are in professional training, we become quite perfectionists. And I do appreciate that we do need to be very meticulous about how we work, but we don't want to be perfectionists. We want to strive for excellence. It's about the work we're putting into our dancing. So the focus, the attention to detail, as in the aim for small incremental improvements all the time, rather than thinking, I need to look like that in my dancing, because that might not happen. We might not have that perfect body, that perfect movement, or that movement that you particularly think is perfect might only be achievable by certain body types. Yes, so appreciate the fact that you will find your form of that movement, and it will be fabulous, and you can make it the absolute best that you can do it. But striving to reach a goal that might at this point be unattainable is not going to help you. So think about ways that you can slightly improve your work at the moment. And sometimes it's good to have that measurable. So for example, if you're trying to get to the splits, maybe have a few yoga blocks. If you're not actually in the splits yet, have a few yoga blocks or books. Yeah, you can make a pile of books so that you can sit on the books and have the same pile of books every time, and know that as you take a book away, you're gradually getting lower. And it's a way of measuring your constant improvement. Yeah, again, don't stretch if you're cold, definitely not after a cold shower, but do make sure you're thoroughly warm. Only, I would say, only stretch to improve your mobility at the end of class, but do it. So you could put your feet up against the wall and sit in second with your feet flexed, and gradually see how many hands you are away from the wall. And that's a good way of measuring if you're getting like more stretched in your second position. Again, these are all just suggestions, and again, do what works for you. Yeah, it's not, you don't necessarily have to have splits out to second if that's not what you're aiming for. So find what feels good for you, and do take notes of your achievements, keep track of it. I will say, definitely in your notebook, if you learn any new sequences that you need to remember, write them down. So that way, just literally the actual process of writing it down transfers it from your brain to your notebook. I thought this way back when I was doing my academic exams, my O levels, that shows how old I am. I literally rewrote out all my work for school. And that just seemed to put it back in my brain. And it does. It's since been proved that there's actually a scientific reason, I can't remember the name for it, what and how your thoughts can get, or there's a kind of brain connection with the physical act of writing things down that helps reinforce the memory of what you're writing down. So do get pen to paper, not typing, pen to paper in your notebook. Write down the exercises that you've learned that day that you need to remember, but also write down, as I said, definitely write down positive comments that have been made about your work. Write down any incremental improvements you've made in certain movements, and also do write down any corrections that you received. If a teacher suggested that maybe you engaged your core a little bit more, that maybe you engaged the muscles under your arms to pull those shoulder blades down a little bit more, maybe write those down as well to remind yourself, oh, actually, I need to think maybe elbows lifted, armpits down. That will help me with my arm positions. So any little like nuggets of information that your teacher gives you, write them down and they will stick in your brain and you will learn from them. Also, as I said, don't be disheartened by the aches and pains, but don't be disheartened by the fact that you might be a bit off balance. Yeah, dancing's a real skill of fine-tuning. Getting that absolute plumb line and balance is quite tricky. So really don't beat yourself up if you feel, oh my gosh, I can't balance anymore. You can. And all it is just rediscovering that absolute central plumb line, rediscovering yourself, and you will feel fine. Also, bear in mind that if you imagine your memories like a bookshelf, and you've got your ballet book there and a pile of books, more than a bookshelf. So you've got your ballet book there, and during the summer holidays, you've ballet books being hidden by your family book, your holiday book. You might have gone abroad, you might have gone to see friends, and all these books, you might have started a new school, so that's another book that's been placed on top of the pile. And obviously now you're back at academic school, so you're getting all those books piled back on the pile. And your ballet book is buried right at the bottom of the pile now. So don't be disheartened if you come back and like, I can't remember the exercises. Don't worry. They're all in there. You just have to fish the book out and get it back to the top of the pile. Yes, or back maybe on a table. So you've got all your books out there on the table rather than being buried at the bottom of the pile. So don't worry, the memory is there, and it's not like you're going to be relearning everything from scratch. It's just a case of refreshing things, especially if you've got an exam coming up. I know what often happens. Everyone feels amazing at the end of term. You think, yes, I'm ready for my exam. It'll be awesome. And you get back on the first day of the exam term and you think, oh my gosh, I can't remember it. I was dancing so well last term and now I've forgotten a lot. Seriously, don't worry, it's there. It's just a case of retrieving it. Oh, and remembering the performance and how you interpreted it and putting it all back together again. It's all there. It's just like just been a little bit disheveled. Yeah, so it just needs a bit of neatening up and you'll be fabulous. So those are my tips for coming back to dancing after a long break. I hope you've had a lovely summer and I hope you are enjoying coming back into dance class once more. Enjoy, look after yourself, take care. Oh, if you want to dance with me, check out bridgeballet.co.uk. If you're an adult dancer and you want to dance with me, you can book a class. There'll be a link in the commentary. And also, if you can't actually make our classes live, we have the bridgeballet.club. And there you can go along and you can enjoy a class anytime, night or day, and enjoy dancing. It's so good for you. Take care. Bye.